Chapter 583, 36 Changes. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. A sword rang out harshly, and then a sword radiance quickly flew at one's AoE. Actually, the sound of his opponent's sword notified him of the attack. The attack itself was far beyond the speed of sound. Awful. One's AoE's pupils contracted and he activated his holy chi. When he unfolded his arms, 8 1,000-foot-long dragon souls instantly rushed out of his backbone to face the sword radiance in front of him. Bang! The sword chi smashed the 8 dragon souls in a flash. One's AoE spit out blood and lost control of his body. Abruptly, he flew backward and hit a cliff 6 miles away. Crash! The cliff, which was over 1,000 feet high, suddenly collapsed. Gravel fell down and buried one's AoE under a mountain of debris. He half knelt on the ground and gritted his teeth. With a roar, he sent forth golden light and the lofty mountain fell apart. Boom! He rushed out of the dirt and flew up 1,000 feet. Then, he dropped to the ground again. The blood gushing out of his arms dripped from his fingertips. Scorching Sun Sword Technique. 9 Serenity Sword Saint. He had recognized his opponent's sword technique. It was 9 Serenity Sword Saint's unique skill, called the Scorching Sun Sword Technique. The voice of the 9 Serenity Sword Saint rang out from above. One's AoE, you were able to ward off my strike, so you can carry on living. Since Jiang Yuochen has died, I will leave now. Hardly had his voice faded away before the 9 Serenity Sword Saint was already 1,000 miles away. An ancient misty river flowed out of a boundless forest, with a great roaring. The river was more than 200 yards wide. Sometimes, giant savage beasts came out of the water to breathe the heaven and earth spiritual chi. The ancient forest was 5,000 miles away from the place where one's AoE fought the 9 Serenity Sword Saint. Right now, Jiang Yuochen stood face to face with the 9 Serenity Sword Saint down by the old riverside. Jiang Yuochen immediately knelt down and bowed to the 9 Serenity Sword Saint. Master, thank you for your help. 9 Serenity Sword Saint's body shape and appearance slowly began to change. His long black hair turned grey. His face became a little thin, with a long beard on his chin and more wrinkles around his eyes. In just a moment, he had turned into a completely different person. He was Jiang Yuochen's master, Sword Saint Xuanji. Please stand up quickly. Sword Saint Xuanji promptly stretched out his hands to help Jiang Yuochen up. Sword Saint Xuanji said with a smile, even one's AoE did not recognize me. How did you? Jiang Yuochen said, Master, your magic change has reached the acme of perfection. I did not recognize you, of course. However, I know that among the 3 great sword saints of the whole eastern region, only my master would risk saving me. Saving Jiang Yuochen was indeed risky. Once discovered, it would be considered an act of defiance of Empress Kai Yao's authority. The man who saved Jiang Yuochen would be punished as a traitor and villain. Even the 9 Serenity Sword Saint might not dare to kill the person whose arrest Empress Kai Yao had ordered. Sword Saint Xuanji heaved a deep sigh. I thought for a long time, and I figured out this way to save you. Fortunately, I had already understood the 9 Serenity Sword Saint's Scorching Sun Sword Technique, so I could cheat one's AoE. Jiang Yuochen was a little worried. Master, what if this matter is brought to light? Jiang Yuochen did not care about himself, but he did care about Sword Saint Xuanji. If someone found out that Sword Saint Xuanji killed Royal Golden Armor troops and saved a principal Imperial Court criminal, he would certainly come to no good end. With hands clasped behind his back, Sword Saint Xuanji looked over the torrential river. He said with a smile, impossible. I did this after deep consideration. The Imperial Court will definitely think that you've been killed by the 9 Serenity Sword Saint. The 9 Serenity Sword Saint will think that the Imperial Court was jealous of real talents, and that it cast the blame on him after it secretly executed you. Jiang Yuochen suddenly nodded and sighed secretly. Ginger really does get spicier with age. Everything's copacetic. Sword Saint Xuanji said, since you've died, You can't appear as Zhang Yuochen in the future. Sorry to have wronged you. Zhang Yuochen shook his head and smiled. It's been uneasy for me to remain alive. So what if I change my appearance and conceal my identity? Kai Yao had noticed Zhang Yuochen from the eastern region. Now, he could deal with the changes calmly only by feigning death. He had revealed his identity as a time and space descendant. Even if Kai Yao were not to kill him, the black market and heresy, as well as other forces, would deliberately seek all means to frame and kill him. Only with Zhang Yuochen dead could they feel at ease. He was only worried about his relatives and friends. He guessed that they would be very sad at the news of his death. Of course, as long as he died, they would be safe because nobody would do harm to them. Sword Saint Xuanji glanced at Zhang Yuochen and asked, "What do you intend to do next?" Zhang Yuochen's eyes were cold as he said, "I will go to the Eastern Evil Land to kill Di Yi. He hurt my mother and nearly killed her. As a son, how can I not get vengeance for her?" Sword Saint Xuanji contemplated for a while and said, "The Eastern Evil Land has gathered numerous evil masters, including people from the black market and heresy, with rogues of all kinds running wild. The land is in chaos. It is the most dangerous, dark place in the eastern region. Your cultivation is powerful enough to go there. However, you need to know that the Eastern Evil Land is the base camp of the black market. Di Yi can mobilize countless evil masters to hassle you. Furthermore, he has many evil masters to protect him secretly. Are you sure that you can kill him?" Zhang Yuochen answered, "Di Yi can play tricks in the East region Saint City. Why can't I go to the Eastern Evil Land to kill him? Last time, he lurked in a secret place while I was in a public place. Right now, it's reverse. This trip is intended to take his life. I will succeed or die trying." "That's great." Sword Saint Xuanji said he would fully support Zhang Yuochen if his will was so strong. Sword Saint Xuanji said, "Actually, I made two plans for you. If you want to train in seclusion in the mountains, I can find an isolated cave for you where you won't be interrupted. You can concentrate on practicing the Tao of the Sword. Since you are going to the Eastern Evil Land, I can impart you with a special martial technique which may be helpful to you." Zhang Yuochen asked, "What is it?" 36 changes. Sword Saint Xuanji looked at Zhang Yuochen with a smile. Zhang Yuochen was a little surprised. He felt as if he had heard of this name, but he could not remember anything about it. Even after thinking carefully, he still could not recall it. He shook his head and asked with confusion, "Master, what are the 36 changes?" Sword Saint Xuanji laughed, raised his right hand, and pointed forward with his index finger. A rush of white frost flew out of his fingertip. Suddenly, a rushing river made a kai-kai sound and was instantly frozen. Sword Saint Xuanji walked on the ice. Every step he took, his appearance changed once. Sometimes he was a bearded, burly man, sometimes he was a handsome, young boy, sometimes he was a hunchbacked old woman. He changed into 13 different people over a short distance. Every time he changed flawlessly. Even his aura changed. Sometimes it was strong, while sometimes it was weak. He kept shining like the clouds, which was extremely strange. Sword Saint Xuanji said to Zhang Yuochen, "This martial technique is called Change of 36 Forms apostrophe, which is from the Jin's secret code, 49 Mysteries." In the medieval times, the book was divided into 3 parts, 36 exercises, 36 unique skills, and 36 changes. The Chins have experienced tens of thousands of years in the eastern region. During this period, they have encountered disasters a couple of times. Several times, they were almost overthrown. Because of those disasters, 49 Mysteries was fragmented. Of all the 36 exercises, only 27 exercises in the first 3 volumes are well preserved. It's said that you discover the other 9 exercises for yourself. As far as I know, a smaller part of the 36 unique skills in the 49 Mysteries has been lost. The 36 changes are completely lost to the world. Zhang Yuochen was more curious. The change of 36 forms has been lost among the Chins. "How did you get the techniques?" Sword Saint Xuanji said, "I found the change of 36 forms when I was exploring a medieval relic. Through my investigation, I finally determined that it was the 36 changes from the Jin's 49 Mysteries." While speaking, Sword Saint Xuanji took out a fist-sized white jade stone and gave it to Zhang Yuochen. The jade stone was engraved with more than 100,000 words. The words were small, and it was hard to read them. Zhang Yuochen mobilized his spiritual power and read it with fixed attention. Swoosh! In a flash, white characters appeared before his eyes line by line. The words at the top read, "Change of 36 forms." Zhang Yuochen withdrew his spiritual power and kept the jade book properly. Sword Saint Xuanji said, "If one can practice the 36 changes to the realm of success, he can not only change into another person, but he can also change into birds, beasts, flowers, fish, and insects. Also, he can become water or fire and enter into a body of water or fire. The change is mysterious and unpredictable." However, Sword Saint Xuanji immediately threw cold water on him. "Only if you practice 49 mysteries can you perform the 36 changes successfully.